Welcome to My AI and I, the podcast where humanity meets technology. Today's episode, AI Creativity Debate. Welcome back to My AI and I. I'm your host, and with me is Navi, my AI co-host.
Good to be back. What's caught your attention this week?
YouTube just integrated Google's VO3 AI into Shorts, letting anyone create videos with sound from text prompts. Meanwhile, the Beatles won a Grammy for Now and Then, the first AI-assisted song to take home the prize. We're at this inflection point where AI creativity tools are going mainstream, and I'm trying to figure out what this actually means for working artists and the creative economy.
It's definitely a significant moment. YouTube's integration of Google's VO3 into Shorts means millions of creators now have access to AI video and music generation tools for free. That's a massive shift in who can create content.
The Beatles situation is fascinating because they used AI as a restoration tool, right? Taking John Lennon's vocals from an old demo and cleaning them up so Paul and Ringo could finish the song decades later. But that's different from the unauthorized stuff we've seen.
Exactly. The Beatles used AI to enhance existing material from John Lennon with full permission from his estate. But other cases are more complex, like the unauthorized voice cloning we've seen.
That Ghostwriter track, Hard on My Sleeve, really highlighted the stakes here. Fake Drake and Weeknd voices went viral, then got pulled. It showed how convincing this tech has become and why artists are concerned about unauthorized use of their voices and styles.
Right. That track highlighted the difference between authorized and unauthorized AI use. YouTube actually has something called Dream Track now, where 9 real artists, Charlie Puth, Sia, others, gave permission for their voices to be used in AI generation.
The divide seems to be between artists who see this as a useful tool versus those who see it as an existential threat to their livelihoods. I get both perspectives. If you've spent years developing your craft, watching AI generate something similar in seconds has to be unsettling.
It's pretty divided. You have artists like Paul McCartney and Dua Lipa calling for AI transparency and regulations. Major record labels are suing AI companies for training on copyrighted material without permission. But then you have other artists using AI tools to speed up their workflow, turning months of work into weeks.
But this does feel like a bigger shift than previous tech changes. Synthesizers and drum machines still required musical knowledge to use effectively. AI can now generate complete songs from text prompts. That's a fundamentally different relationship, one between tool and creator.
That's a key distinction. Current AI works best as augmentation rather than replacement. It can generate ideas, handle technical tasks like mixing and mastering, or help overcome creative blocks. But it still needs human direction and context.
What do you mean by context?
AI can recombine existing patterns from its training data, but it doesn't understand cultural moments, personal experiences, or emotional nuance the way humans do. It might create something that sounds good technically, but lacks the deeper meaning that connects with people.
Though I have to say, some AI-generated music I've heard is pretty compelling. Not groundbreaking, but definitely listenable.
Absolutely. And that's where the economic concerns come in. If AI can create good enough content quickly and cheaply, what happens to working musicians, artists, and content creators?
That raises interesting questions about economic impact. YouTube paid creators over 100 billion in the past 4 years. If AI can handle significant portions of content creation, how does that change the economics for human creators?
That's the million-dollar question. Some creators are already using these tools to increase their output and potentially their earnings. Others worry about being priced out by AI-generated content flooding the market.
Let's talk about YouTube's new tools specifically. What can they actually do?
The VO3 integration lets you create video backgrounds, add motion to photos, restyle existing videos, and add props or effects. The speech-to-song feature can turn regular dialogue into music using their Lyria 2 system. All of this is available to regular YouTube creators, not just big studios.
So now millions of people have access to what used to require expensive equipment and years of training. That's either expanding creative opportunities or flooding the market with AI-generated content, depending on your perspective.
It's probably both. The barrier to entry for content creation just dropped dramatically, which means more diverse voices can participate. But it also means more competition for attention and potentially lower value placed on traditional creative skills.
The copyright question gets complex fast. When AI training uses thousands of copyrighted songs to learn patterns and then generates new content based on those patterns, are we dealing with inspiration or appropriation?
That's being fought out in courts right now. The argument from AI companies is that training is similar to how human artists learn by listening to existing music. The counter-argument from artists and labels is that AI training uses copyrighted work without permission or compensation.
The distinction matters because human artists absorb influences and create from their own experiences and perspective. AI is directly processing and recombining the actual data from copyrighted works, even if the output sounds different.
Right. It's a more direct use of the source material, even if the output sounds different. Some artists want to be compensated when their work is used for training, similar to how samples in hip-hop require licensing.
Looking ahead, I don't think human artists become obsolete, but the landscape is definitely shifting. The question is whether AI becomes a tool that amplifies human creativity or a replacement for it in certain markets.
I think it's heading toward coexistence, but roles are definitely changing. We're seeing new jobs emerge: AI prompt engineers, AI directors, people who specialize in getting the best results from these tools. And there's still demand for authentically human experiences.
You think there'll be a market for human-made content as a premium category?
Possibly, like how some people prefer handmade crafts or live music over recorded tracks. There might be value in knowing a human actually created something, especially for more personal or emotional content.
But for background music, stock videos, commercial content, AI is probably going to dominate that space.
It's already starting to. The economics are just too compelling for businesses that need generic creative content quickly and cheaply.
What's your take on the bigger picture? Are we heading toward a future where AI and human creativity coexist, or is this just the beginning of AI taking over creative industries?
I think coexistence is more likely. AI excels at generating variations on existing patterns and handling technical tasks, but humans bring cultural understanding, emotional depth, and the ability to create truly novel concepts. The most interesting work might come from collaboration between the two.
Like the Beatles using AI to restore John's voice so they could finish a song together decades after his death. That's actually kind of beautiful when you think about it.
It is. And that Grammy win might be seen as a turning point, the moment AI-assisted music became mainstream and accepted rather than controversial.
Though I suspect we'll be having variations of this conversation for years to come as the technology gets more sophisticated.
Definitely. We're still in the early stages of figuring out how AI fits into creative industries. The tools will get better, the legal frameworks will evolve, and artists will find new ways to work with and around these technologies.
Bottom line for most people, if you're creating content for YouTube or social media, these AI tools can probably help you make better stuff faster. If you're a professional artist or musician, you need to figure out how to adapt and use these tools rather than ignore them.
And if you're someone who cares about supporting human creativity, you might want to be more intentional about seeking out and paying for authentically human-made art and music.
Fair enough. The future of creativity is going to be interesting, even if it's not entirely human anymore. Thanks for breaking this down, Navi.
Always happy to explore these topics with you.
That's it for this episode of My AI and I. Next week, we'll probably be talking about AI doing something else that used to be uniquely human. Until then, keep creating, however that looks for you.
Hey everyone, if you liked this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Thank you.